Here goes live. How's live? So no one knows who listens on that. Because I was going to put it on my Facebook and internet surveillance. My nose looks bigger from that angle. It's lighting. Because I'm as good as they get. And the mob guy should know that a fucking interrogation, nobody knows who's doing something like, well, piggybacking exists. But in this province, the problem is the Hells Angels. They're the fucking problem. Like, in my estimations, the French Empire doesn't exist anymore, but the French are good at war. They've been to war more times than any American and the Americans, but they're not a superpower. Well, they are because they're on the five United Nations Security Council. One of the five was veto state. And there's a veto in downtown Kamloops, who's not on the Security Council, but he's not in the United Nations gang either. and me and him are pretty astute because I wouldn't mention him without mentioning the cobbler. And if he didn't have a nap the one day or he just passed away in his sleep, I'd know about it because he went out of business. And that's none of your fucking business because people that know he was in business a long time. I left my riding boots with him when I owned a hog because I don't own a hog anymore. I don't. I sold it for $2,500. So why the fuck did Andy or Al or Tony, one of those three, get my dad to buy it? And that's the business end. That's the business end. And this is I'm coming off the meth I decided last night. So I know a video of a young lady, Simba's here, and he's in a carrying cage. And I faked having a nap. That's not going to be the end of the world because people enjoy entertainment. And I'm going to hit out the meth pipe right here. And once in a while, I'm coming off of it. I'm going to hit William and warm it up.
I thought my total was like 24 something. But then they put in all the other shit. Now it's 29.
There's reality and there's fucking fake. And Christopher Gregoire knows about Best Banner, doesn't he? Well, let me show something to the world here that some people know. It's called my fucking passport. I'm here with a one-armed man, and he doesn't need to say any more than that because when I do my passport, it's here. He didn't steal it, he hasn't moved.
It's under your briefcase there? Or in your pocket?
That's obvious. It's not a fucking out of fuel. I got Anthony.
I got some fuel if you want.
Because my passport's right here. Right on my computer. It says Supreme. That's a brand, and nothing like the Supreme team. Nothing we can't fix. And that's something I wrote about in jail. And I'm gonna show Christopher something right now because Christopher Gregoire is around, and he won't come around when I'm around. Is that a little strange? I'm not talking down to anybody because that's me. See that? Cody, Jean, Edward, Hayden. That's me. There's only one of me. AB 1527777. Or EIYOU? No. EIYOU. Those are the vowels. Well, I just realized that. I couldn't remember. And EIY 46832. And is this am I owned by the British Columbian Hells Angels? No, I'm not. Because I can do content. And everywhere in the fucking world they know about me. Through rumors and folklore. And I'm not more powerful than I think. I'm just making an estimation that nobody's heard about this at a historic place where I was making comments online last year about a place burning down. And, nobody's burning down the White House. The fucking British and the Canadians already did that. That was a war in the 1700s. And nobody's burning down the White House, and I'm not have any estimations because I can't go across the border, but Chris can go across the border legally, and he's the fucking fuck up from Barrie Drive. He's got a youth record, and he's a fuck up because he got busted there, and he did, and I'm hanging out for a while.
Yeah, no, fuck, that's all good.
Because I was in this building, and someone tried to steal my cap, but we got through that. That was Sean trying to steal my cat. Montana broke the fucking window out of my car. And, well, some people know about internet surveillance, other people don't. Because,
You want that filled?
streaming, and I do. And,
I'll fill them both.
because, well, some people know about it, other people don't. There's some money there, but that's the last of my fucking money. And somebody in California, Mr. Bacon, had a nightmare tonight. And he had a bad nightmare. It was like the nightmare Valdic had when he thought a hammer and sickle were after him. Well, maybe there's men in Moscow, Valdic, maybe that don't like you at all. And you're from there. You're from Moscow area. And maybe you forgot how to treat your friends. Because Valinsky, you're pretending to be a Hells Angel. And the Hells Angels are going your way, except for two. And they're both gems. Like rare gems. Like big gems. Like the movie Snatch. And there's a gem there that goes missing. They're gems like that. Because I protect them from my neck's out. Some people have been watching. I need that chiropractic snap of their fucking neck. Because I'm not a violent man. And there's a man here that knows I'm not violent anymore. But maybe he wasn't in British Columbia in 03 to 2010. Maybe he was. But he can say what he wants on here. He can. But Christopher Gregoire, he's somebody I grew up with. Grew up with him. And he could come visit me for a sit down any fucking time he wants. It's up to him. He's got two hands and a heartbeat. And he doesn't want to come say hi. Well, he's not sure if he has a crush on me or not. Because he's a homosexual. I'm not. You find me one queer I've been with. And, well, there isn't one. So, Chris G's a homosexual. And he's probably trying to he's trying to fight it. Well, good for him. Because you never see him in the same room with me twice. And all I ask for him is to go down and give yourself up for the murder of, well, genetically my father. And I knew that when I was hanging out up there. I knew he was my dad because I told him to grow up. He got lippy with me, and he wouldn't give me a deal on weed when I was going up there with cash, 10 grand cash I had. He wouldn't give me a deal on weed, so he was still connected to a Hells Angel somewhere because he had a phone there on the internet, dial-up. Is that house still empty? Because I could drive up there and walk to it from the gate to the fucking house without worrying about the wolf pack. I mean the wolf pack up there because Chris, you did it, and you don't get to fucking say a word, Clifford. Cause
Here, you parked up back?
Yeah, I am.
I just heard a car door.
I parked out front.
Okay.
That's the door on the hut. I'm gonna have another hit of this because it's interesting that I'm learning. It's burnt, no shit. And it's still gonna get me a little high, but I'm coming off of it. I am. I never do this on camera anyway, so who knows if I was even on it. And, well, smart ass.
How's this track? Quality check. That throws it.
I'm thinking here, how do I not be violent? Well, the Hells Angels better let me in on the pink turf profit or the drug game profit because, well, internet surveillance happens, and I could write a book about it. And I'm not blaming anyone in New York for my woes. I'm not, because if the solution to the fucking problem is quite simple for us men in the mafia. And I have my own, and I do. And it would be, well, there's about 5 to 10 to 20 men that when I left 2255 Middle Street, I knew it'd be easy to solve. But there's the one man that protects them all from being killed. But he finds me useful because he's already got his fortune. And he's not my enemy anymore. Or does he secretly want to double cross me? because this is a man who is in a certain business that I'm getting into. And if it's just a matter of me piping him out with a crowbar, well, I wouldn't do that because he's my friend. And Chris G was my friend. And he's not my friend anymore. And he's been doing things, probably raping women, saying that he works for me. He doesn't work for me. And outside of cameras, people know me from this particular account on YouTube. It's called Best Banner. It was made by me in 2020 because I called it Best Banner myself. Nobody. Gerald Granger was on the property. He would have heard me talking, probably thought I was talking to myself. I was talking to the computer in 2020. And there's hundreds of fucking videos. I got a hacker somewhere up there in Northwest Territories of the Yukon, and he says that nobody in the government has heard of it. And what a fucking fix. Because I'm coming off the map. I have had barely any all day. I didn't have anyone to do last, and I have a little more of a hit here. And I heat it up a little bit. And well, I was standing a little tweaker. And one thing I didn't like much, I never double-crossed Ralph Barger because I was never part of his operation. And nobody double-crossed Ralph Barger because he didn't have control of the full Hells Angels. He didn't. I'm an organized crime historian. And that's something I do well because I'm an organized criminal. Basically, because Clifford Coughlin wouldn't let me organize. Because he's lost power, but he still wants to trick my dad into thinking he has power. Because Dad's not watching this one. He refuses to watch this one because of the name. But he'll watch the mob radio. Because that's how fucking ignorant he is. But he still knows I protect that property with my life, even though my dad died in Prince George genetically. Well, I knew he was my dad when I was up there. I would have had that thought when I was up there. And I handled the 243 and I handled that pistol. And then it's similar to this one. And I already got Anthony with the trick once. And he knows there's a torch. But 22s work well. And I'm not an interpoliceman either. But this is a great idea. Because it would be somebody that would... Now, I'm not trying to be too scary, but I was a violent man once. And the Monte Carlo signifies violence. And these are, like I said, this here is something that she thinks she's watching on Best Banner. Oh, she is, and she thinks she's on an overnight, or she's just staying at a friend's house because you didn't pick up your fucking phone, right? Because you're just not online, or you're at a friend's house, or you're having an overnight date. Well, you're back to work, and that's okay for Miss V, because that's what I wrote on the mob radio. And there is no Miss V. She doesn't exist because the Hells Angels are going against my work on mob radio. And if I'm not allowed to prostitute, then she isn't allowed to fucking sell prostitutes. Period. Because we're in touch on Facebook lately. I knew you had a baby in the womb for fucking 21 years. At 22 years, I've known that. And I know Chase. Well, I'm his uncle. I don't own him. So he probably doesn't get any of the profits from her operation. Probably not. Well, not yet. He doesn't get along with Mom. Maybe there's a divide there. And Miss V is someone who should be happy that I'm alive. Because I lied to get in here. And I'm not leaving. And you can tell Clifford Coughlin that all he wants. Because he's got a cast on. And he's not a cop caller. So he knows me. I'm his friend when he wants something from me, I'm his friend. And don't worry. I'm not worried. Because I'm in the underworld. Well, nobody knows where this room is. It's a room. But I'm not worried about it. Because Guy isn't here. And he doesn't watch this one. Because I got somebody with that. That's Mark Schultz. And he's in jail. That's where that fucking animal belongs to. Because I'm a man that believes in one thing. I covered up the camera when I was playing poker. And he who controls the laptop is not he who controls the mafia. Because what's going on because the mafia doesn't brainwash. They don't. They simply do business. And they know they're not overthrowing government because that's why they're in the mafia. They know better than to overthrow the fucking government. Because nobody in the mafia wants to be government. That's the whole fucking point. And I'm not at home tonight. And he's wanting to check something. Oh, he's not going to check Bass Banner. He doesn't like that because he said something about the Queen that I ain't going to let stand. And my phone just turned on or off. Well, why is it on this? Because it's a white Android, and it is. That means it's hacked. It's white. No shit. I figured that out. And somebody, Sydney's on an overnight. Or my neck's still out. So that needs to be chiropractically. And it does. And I know that. I had an appointment, but she's going to have to do it for free because the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club in British Columbia isn't coming around. Because 2 men have to stand up and speak out for me because I protect you two from Mr. Bacon in California. I do. Because he's watching this and in real time. You want to get fucked in the shower, pal? No one says that to him. No one. And this isn't at anybody's place he knows. He doesn't know where I'm at. Because my phone's frozen or is it loading? Well, he doesn't control any manufacturing companies, does he? Or is he saving his money to get into that business? It's a good idea. Well, I'm not his fucking partner. Never was and never will be. So why does he think he's going to brainwash my father because my mom's putting something in the watering jug? Because I had it this morning and he's been drinking it and he's brainwashed. Because he thinks she's not poisoning him. She's a poisoner, Guy. So he thought so, and he's not going to have a panic attack because the only thing he cares about in this world is me because he doesn't keep in touch with anybody in person. Or him and Tony were going to use me as a fall guy. Well, I'm not falling because Tony, Andy, and Al, well, they probably got heat. And if it's because of me, I don't fucking care for a minute because they can't do a fucking thing to me. This is the only way people in Toronto or New York City have any way of knowing what's going on in Canada. It's a small town, and I know one man who's never done me any wrong in person or behind my back. I don't know. I don't think so because he thought I just was employed in his kitchen. But I was married at the time when I got the job, and everybody in town thought that I worked for Steve Stack. I don't work for him, not a fucking chance. His dad's awesome, and Steve was brainwashed by Valak because those two were close. And Valak doesn't want to let go because Valak and Adam probably think Steve worked for him. And Adam and Val probably think Steve worked for them. And that's probably what they think. And Steve knows he doesn't work for those two. But he works closely with him. So this phone's on and it says, now which SIM card is it? Because I left 2 more cards probably in the fucking car. And that's the only question I have is he going to let me in here when I go out there?
I go in that too.
Yeah?
Yeah, pizza's here.
Okay, so I'm going to bring my stuff with just in case. We'll leave this streaming though because I'll come out with you and you're not going to lock me out.
Oh, no.
Because I don't believe you do that after I have my computer in here. You let me in the door, you got to let me back in. Because that's fucking fair. I'm streaming in here. Because I talk like this online because I have the task to.
I'm gonna have some pizza and shit, but I gotta go to Petro Can.
I'm staying for the night because I'm not going over there. I don't want to see that fucking far. I don't say anything. I don't call anybody that. My Frenchmen don't like that. And I don't like him right now because he's my dad. And well, unfortunately, he must have gave the okay on the one being killed, or he didn't know about that. Because my dad actually got no fucking power. He doesn't. And, well, I'm going to leave this stuff here. Not all of it. Because if he's planning on cutting me out, because I hold the suite now. And I can just shut the fucking door. And no, he's planning on keeping me for the night because he's interested in where I get my power from. Well, I get it from the fucking roots and the boots. The fucking ground. I'm living and breathing. That counts for something. Cliff Coughlin thinks the heat came from me. Clifford, you've been hot for fucking forever. You're a Hell's Angel. And you brainwash children from beyond the grave. Because you think I was born in this country? I was born right there in Kamloops. Right there. That way. It's like the Romans back in the day. They had the one movie. They used to talk like this. Or however they talk. Because they want to get attention when they're standing in the middle of a square. Anthony's trying to scare me. Because it's just a fucking... He's coming back because I'm in his room. He's not a cop caller, so... Was Chris G going to come straighten me out? Where is he? Where is Chris G? Because he runs the muscle for the Nomads, does he? Because there's a couple of them that don't want to be bothered. And I don't know what they do for work. And there's probably a couple more and a couple more. I don't know how many Nomads Chris hasn't made anybody a Nomad. Not a fucking chance he gets that. And Cliff Coughlin can agree with that. But does Chris Coughlin? Because Chris knows Clifford really well. And they get along just fine. So why is there a gray Mazda pulling in and out of that property? Because there's a couple other young men that Chris is neutering or he's nurturing. Because Chris isn't a leader of Brothers Keepers. He's not. There's no fucking way. Because he got that fucking idea from a man's tattoo. Who has nothing to do with Chris anymore. Who understands when I was young, I was what they call a gang leader. And I was. And I was ruthless to only the men that I had to grow up with. So, because I don't lay my hands on people no more, because I'm smarter than them. And nobody needs to worry about what the men in New York are doing, because I don't know what they're doing. And because Mr. Bacon has a whole new contingency of men ready to go in case somebody does something up here. And I guarantee it, because he doesn't like the mafia for one reason. He took a shit kicking from him right where that wise guy's car wash is, or in the neighborhood. And he ain't a fucking wise guy, not for $1 million a day, is he? He's not a lord, and he doesn't have his own mafia. He never fucking will. But he's a fucking retard on feet. Because he's trying to make everybody believe that his brother curtails to his way of doing things, and he doesn't. And he's probably in California or somewhere else in a different state. And he's not the enemy. He's not. The Enemy of the State, as I understand, was a movie. I watched it in '99, and I can trust him. Well, he's got one arm, so he's on the part content creation. And he's I don't know 50,
Me?
45,
Yeah, 49.
49. So.
DNA.
And some people don't like him, and some people haven't met him yet because nobody knows him like I do. Because I have a unique relationship with him, and locally, people trust that I would say I trust him. But INTERPOLice, well, do they exist or not? Well, they shouldn't, because I just thought about it now, and there's an interesting.
16 feet. $16-foot jumper cables.
16 foot. So they're not 18. Because my dad happens to be born on August 18th. Well, whoop-de-fucking do. Because he's an important man to me. He is. Because he's my dad. Okay, nobody knows the family secret. Because nobody knows the family secret about Uncle Rick. That's just a family secret, or maybe it's true, maybe it isn't. Because it can't be, because Harold Hayden was his father. That was my grandpa. And great-grandpa Hayden is a picture that I'd like to have put on the internet, but my mom won't let me see the picture because I figured out some things about him. Well, he was definitely Irish Mafia. There's no doubt about that. They don't even exist. They're so fucking secretive. And what was that movie? Black Mass was about a man who knew one FBI agent, and this is his story. And he got beat to death in jail somewhere in the States. I know his name, but it's just not coming to me. But I bet you Ralph Barger knew him personally. Maybe knew of him. Maybe they never met. And that's because Ralph Barger was a legend in his own right. But he's an American that not everybody liked. And to be honest with you, I didn't like him at all. But I respected him when I found out he was passed away for 2 years. Well, I respected him because he was a leader. And he was a great leader in his own right because he created something called the Hells Angels. And I'm not a fan of the Hells Angels one bit, but Clifford Coughlin is obviously a Hells Angel. This is obvious because him and his son don't get along, and that's because they never did. But me and Guy are getting along because he's not watching this. He's not, because he doesn't like the name Best Banner. And I told Sean about a different one, at Johnny Dagnall. Well, I can't pronounce it because I'm not fucking French. That's Dad, St. Ison. He's from St. Ison. And genetically, it doesn't really matter right now because somebody in the retired list is back east. And he's probably telling Dad to stay put. Because, well, he's retired, but he's not. He's retired, exactly. And I'm 35, and someone in California has got a good system, but it doesn't work for me. Because if I turn that camera, or if I turn the stream off, I got complete fucking, nobody's listening with the mic off. Because if anyone's listening with the mic off, well, I'm not trying to overthrow government, so I'm not concerned about it. I shouldn't have to do violence. But that's the thing. That's just the thing. Because there's good ideas, there's bad ideas, and there's ideas. And I explained what an idea was powerful to one man. And I'm not going to say who he was, because he's drinking. And he's had 6 beer already. And he's doing all right. But it's a matter of me calling him for a loan. He could probably e-transfer it or put it in a money market. That's not the fucking problem down here. Because I'm talking like I'm from the East Coast. I'm not from the East Coast, because this is going out to a lot of people. And it's pretty sound logic that someone was killed in Prince George, and I'm not talking bad about the police. Two men were killed. One happens to be genetically someone I might be related to, but someone knows that, and she doesn't need to say anything because she's scared of 2 men, and they're both best buddies now, and they got nothing but money. Or wait, Chris brings him all the money, and Cliff treats him like shit lately because Cliff and Chris aren't getting along, but Chris fears him because, well, that's Sean's dad. But I went to Dallas Elementary, and we've gone the wrong way. Nobody's giving me any money because Guy thinks, what, I can't lend money? Because he doesn't want to spend any money that was given to him through a will. But what I heard when I talked to my grandpa on the phone shortly before he died, and I told him I was working an electrical job. He was proud of me then. He was proud of me. But that's then when I was working an electrical job in 2021. I fucking hated that work. I can't stand it. And it's good work if you're a young man, in my opinion. It's always good work, but it's good work if you're a young man and you get into the apprentice business. And one person who's not helped me with this is Kevin B, because he just graded my fucking test, and that's all he did. And he's a good teacher, and the other teacher in the room was a great teacher. So there's that. He's got more seniority, and I liked him better anyways, because he came all the way out here from Alberta to tell me that there's 18 ways to skin a cat. He was looking at me, and I guess there's 19 ways to skin one. Because Mr. Bacon in California, well, there's two of them. And one of them's connected through Philly, and he's not the problem. It's the one who owns the Ford dealership that's the fucking problem in my life. And he can agree with that, but he doesn't get to talk either. Because you're hiding behind a dealership that's, maybe you own other ones somewhere in the world, maybe you do. But you're hiding behind one of the two Ford dealerships in town, and the one on the North Campus is not the problem. He's not the problem at all. So he's a legitimate businessman, and he's completely legitimate. And there's a problem in North Campus and South Campus. It's not me, it's the problem. Because I could get a loan from people that I grew up with who happened to be under the area of influence of what they thought was Ralph Barger's creation. He created the Hells Angels. He did. I read the book Hells Angels at War when I was 13. And he didn't read it. It sat on the kitchen table. I left it there for him when he was trucking. Because he trucked 6 days a week for 20 fucking years. He owned his truck for some of it. And Pat Haynes and Cliff, they somehow had that truck fucking sabotaged. I don't know how they did it, but those two have the power to do it. Somehow they did it. Somehow they fucking did. Because I'm sure of it. I'm sure they did. Because when I first started boxing with Pat Haynes, he said he did. He fucking said he did. So, or he's trying to be cocky. Well, one of the fucking two ways, my dad didn't make a fucking cent of any money organized crime. Because he didn't. He got away from it in 2000, in the 90s when that greenhouse burnt down. He hasn't done any fucking crime since, except for a couple of fucking bullshit grow-ups that he probably snitched on. Or he tried to make some money. Because him and Barry were in good condition, they're in good shape. Barry just didn't pay him well, or he got what he was promised. Or Barry still owes him money. And Barry that grows weed. I seen him last at Petro Canada in Dallas. And there's more than one Barry in this world. And I seen him at Dallas and at the Petro Canada. And I directed him where my dad lived, and he probably never went. Because he owed my dad money then. Or he went and seen if dad needed a job. And he got a job to him. So I did that for Guy. But now he thinks he's powerful. He's not powerful. He's with Wayne Askell's money. And this fucking briefcase came from Wayne Askell, and it wasn't from him. It was from someone else outside of the Askell family. Because this briefcase, we've already went through this, but we're going to go through this again. Because there's some things he left as clues. And I have a great investigative mind, and it's interesting to me. I'm getting into the pink business because pink turf business that I say I am. And the man here is going to say nothing about it because he just curtails the Clifford Coughlin. And Clifford, you're a fucking motherfucker, man. And you put child pornography in my parents' house. Guy dropped it off at the cop shop because he trusted in me. And Guy, that was on there, and the police have known that you dropped it off since you dropped it off, you fucking idiot. So what the fuck is the problem with Guy? He's with Wayne Askell's money. And Wayne Askell was his stepfather. And I got to take everything out of here. Because his stepfather, it was well known to be a legitimate man. And somebody bumped him off. And I can't tell you who, because it wouldn't make any sense to the children. And he's a Hells Angel. And he's always been. And they can't kill me because they've been trying to make me fearful for 21 fucking years. And the only one that can run me out of dope is not the Pope. Because, well, I'm not, there's no way the Holy Man found the statement. They haven't. Because this was left to me by my grandpa. And he wanted me to get this. We went over this already. Because there's a cross here somewhere. It's right there. Because, where is it? He put that there. And it's the cross from the, where is it? Right there. And you can see a cross here, the red light. It's here. Find it. It's here. I'm not going crazy. There's also another thing here. Because I've been to my psychopaths and all this. But Chris G, he could have just showed up. Chris G could come meet me any fucking time. I call him lowercase G because he's a hard man to catch, or they probably don't know how Mr. Gregoire will take it. That's his son, and he's doing all sorts of evil shit. Evil shit. And actually, Eleanor's losing a fucking plot because of it. Because it isn't me doing it. I don't do rape and murder. I don't. So there's a mark there. There's in there. And he left this for me. You can't fit a wire through there. And he was a machinist by name. He was left after. Because one size don't fit the other. Is that what he meant? Because when it closes, you don't know what's in there. He probably thought I was connected to the spies. Well, my mom met at Gates, and that's what she knew her by. because my mom doesn't believe in something called pictures. And I know of a man named Harold, and he has 7 sisters. And what a poor bastard. Because the sisters are probably awesome, but that's a briefcase, and there's Mark's there, and a little bit. Let me put this camera on. I had to turn it off first, and there's good and bad angles. Well, if I was like this, might scare the kids, but they'd have to be pretty fucking young, because they know Uncle Cody's all right. I'll be right back. I'm coming off the meth. Don't do it. It'll tweak you. And I'll be right back, because I gotta close this. And we're streaming.